Hi, everybody. It's Eric Murray from the SugarHuddle.com. Well, the New York Giants, much like the San Francisco 49ers, are going through a lost season, and yet, like the Niners, the Giants have still come out and played very hard, as a lot of guys are certainly auditioning for jobs going forward for 2019 and beyond. You know, on Monday night, they were obviously a team that was really playing with nothing to lose. It was expected a lot of changes were going to be made soon. There's been recent trades. In the case of obviously their longtime quarterback Eli Manning, the talk was coming off of the bye week. Okay, when is he getting benched for Kyle Lauletta, their rookie draft pick? And Eli Manning, who's had a lot of struggles this year, not totally on him because he has a bad offensive line, but he came out and he played a strong game on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers, and ultimately they were down 20-10 in the third quarter, and Eli was able to rally them back with a late touchdown in the last minute to win it 27-23. The final drive, it was 9 plays, 75 yards, minute 53 seconds, but both sides just a lot of sloppy play, and both sides really showed why. They both have Giants now, of course, with the win on Monday night. Both have just 2 wins apiece. Came into the game combined record of 3-14. The Giants would do something nice, and then they would shoot themselves in the foot with a penalty. And the Niners would do something nice defensively. They'd shoot themselves in the foot with some sort of holding or pass interference penalty. And certainly down the stretch in the second half, the 49ers defense, which wasn't known for being great against the pass, including their linebackers, started really letting the penalties pile up, and both sides had 8 penalties, and I can't remember the yardage, but both sides had 8+ penalties. I think the Niners had 10 and the Giants had 8, and both had, I think, over 65 yards in penalties. So kind of a sloppy game, especially down the stretch. A lot of mistakes made, and you can see why both teams were struggling coming into this game and will continue to struggle throughout the rest of the season. But nonetheless, Eli, you could kind of call him Magic Manning because he has 36 career game-winning drives now, including the one on Monday night. That's third most since he entered the league in 2004, and ranks him in the top 10 all time. And kind of a vintage Eli moment where he's having a decent game or what have you, but then he has that one big drive at the end, giving him his team a chance to win, and in this case, winning the ball game. And remember, the Giants, they've had several one-score games this year. They're 2-5 and one-score games this year. The other win was against the Texans. So that was right before the Texans started their current winning streak. And, for Eli, only his second game-winning drive since the start of 2017. Obviously, this is only the 5th win for the Giants since the start of 2017. But, you could tell that Eli was feeling good. He was 19-31, 188 yards and 3 scores. On the final drive, he was 6-9, 69 yards with a game-winning touchdown pass. So, 3rd and 10, backed up at their own 25, finds tight end Evan Ingram wide open down the near sideline for 31 yards. And then both sides go back and forth making some plays. And again, some penalties, costly penalties on the Niners. The Giants would give it right back with a holding, and I believe they also had a false start along the way. But then Saquon Barkley, who's so great out of the backfield and is actually on pace for about 1,000 receiving yards, he's was really uncoverable for these struggling Niners linebackers who are good as far as playing the run and what have you, but really struggle as far as defending. And Fred Warner, Cassius Marsh, who's actually a defensive end who dropped back and covered quite a bit, and Malcolm Smith, of course, the one-time Super Bowl MVP for the Seahawks, former USC Trojan. All 3 of those guys at different points were assigned on Barkley, and none of them could stop him out of the backfield. Barkley ran a nice angle route and was able to gain a bunch of yards, move the chains again, and then finally got down the 3-yard line inside of a minute, and Manning threw a nice pass to Sterling Shepard, who ran a fade to the left pylon and did a nice job of coming down in bounds as he hit the ground pretty hard. But nonetheless, it was a real nice rally by the Giants, who obviously outscored the 49ers 17-3 down the stretch. Definitely a feel-good victory for them. Definitely a feel-good victory for Eli because he knows that he is going to preserve his job for at least one more week. But nonetheless, on the other side of it, for the 49ers, you kind of feel like at home, this one really got away from you, because one of the things that was pointed out on the ESPN telecast throughout is how Kyle Shanahan really loves to do some real tough mismatches for the opposing defense. In this case, the Giants, with Matt Breida coming out of the backfield and catching passes just like Barkley did for the Giants, and some of these other matchups of George Kittle going against safety Landon Collins, who is one of the best safeties in football but isn't the greatest in pass coverage. And it's kind of ironic that in the end, the Giants' mismatches were the things that ultimately won this football game. It almost won it for 49ers, but in the end, the Giants' mismatches, with Barkley coming out of the backfield catching passes, with Evan Ingram being able to come from his tight end spot as a very athletic tight end and making a couple of really nice plays. So at the end of the day, really, really nice, encouraging win for the Giants. The 49ers aren't a blitzing team. They have like 19 sacks with 4-man pressure, and they just really couldn't get after Eli. The offensive line did a tremendous job. The Giants' offensive line, a lot of criticism this year. And nonetheless, they did a fantastic job holding up in this one. And, you kind of wonder if the line can play more like this, because remember, they did see some more pressure down the stretch on the final drive. If they can play more like this, how much better could their season have been? They still would be a mediocre team at best, but you do wonder with much better protection how much it benefit Eli, and also how many more rushing yards that Saquon Barkley could have out of it, because I think he has as many or more receiving yards as he does rushing at this point. But nonetheless, fantastic win for them. Odell Beckham Jr., 4 catches, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Eli Manning with a season-high 3 touchdown pass. The Giants only had 277 total yards, but 277 very important and efficient yards. They only had the ball for a little over 25 minutes, so weren't on the field very much, but nonetheless, a really, really nice rally. Eli, again, he say what you want about him and some of the ups and downs of his career, and especially these last couple of years, but he's a clutch guy, and he knows how to get it done down the stretch, so give him a lot of credit. And on the other side of it, Nick Mullins' second career start, he definitely showed some flashes, and there were some mistakes made by some of his wideouts in this one, but he had threw 2 interceptions. I think he had 27 of 39, 250 yards, and a touchdown pass as well. The first interception was on him. Second one was kind of a 50-50, thrown slightly behind Marquise Goodwin, and went off his hand. But Mullins, he showed some flashes once again, but he also was a little too reliant on George Kittle at times, a little too reliant on kind of checking down after a little while, like we see, obviously, Eli do quite a bit this year. So there's still something there with Mullins, and you've got a bye week now, and I would assume he'll continue to start ahead of C.J. Beathard for at least 1 or 2 more games. So, 49ers, again, Jimmy Garoppolo would have stayed healthy all year. You obviously ask yourself, what could have been, because even though there's certainly some flaws on defense, the way the running game is coming together, and the way George Kittle's emerged at tight end, and obviously, did a fantastic job last year as well. This is a team that probably would be in the playoff mix. You think about Seattle 4-5, the Cowboys and the Eagles are 4-5 teams, and 49ers would probably be in that 4-5, 5-4 range if Garoppolo were healthy, or in some of Beathard's starts if he wouldn't turn it over as much, because those are like 3 weeks in a row they gave games away, including the Packers game and both Cardinals games really, and what was the other game they gave away? I'm trying to think of it off the top. Oh, and the Chargers game. But either way, the way you look at it, both these teams, you can see why they have their ups and downs. Some changes definitely are going to have to be made in the offseason. Both teams need a lot, but Eli Manning, he lives to fight another week, kind of similar to the night before with the Cowboys. The Cowboys live to fight another week, preserving some jobs. So we'll see what happens with the Giants, but nice win for New York. Encouraging win on the road. Remember, that's a long flight back and forth, so good win for them. Good learning experience for the 49ers, who definitely let this one get away. But anyways, those are my Monday Night Football thoughts on the game. Please go to sugarhuddle.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like my Facebook page and follow that, the Sugar Huddle, and get the word out. So thank you. Appreciate it.